you want me to tell you the overall vote before or after?
Don't you always tell me after?
I do, but
So why do
okay.
you want me to tell? Why do you want like what's
Because
going on right
it's
now?
staring me in the face, and I just don't want to keep it to myself.
I feel like you're angry. It must be the person's the asshole. Clearly.
Maybe, okay, I'll pick a new story first. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so here we go. Am I the asshole for
Clearly, you're the asshole. We already know that based off of Morgan's reaction.
Am I the asshole for not wanting a Christmas tree up at my mother-in-law's house on Thanksgiving? The holidays are very special and sensitive for me, 34 female, this year more than ever. My brother and I were recently orphaned, having lost our mother to breast cancer over 20 years ago, and now our father to septicemia in 2020. I'm trying to navigate how I'm going to manage the holidays without my parents, and I'm a new parent myself, so I want to establish some nice family traditions with my son, 1.5, that we will be able to continue. I love this time of year so much. I really want it to be special for my son. I agreed to have Thanksgiving dinner this year at my mother-in-law's house, and my brother, who is traveling 900 miles to visit, is okay with going over there. But as we're confirming the plans, my mother-in-law says I'm putting up my Christmas tree tomorrow, and maybe my son would like to help put up ornaments. This sent me completely over the edge. This is my reasoning. 1. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, and I would prefer the two holidays be clearly split and defined.
I can't. It's so annoying to me when people are so weird about that.
Put your fucking Christmas tree up when you want.
I'm sorry. If I want it to be Christmas for 4 fucking months, I'll have it be Christmas for 4 months.
And that's that.
We can still do Thanksgiving, but Christmas.
Also, it's just a fucking tree. It's like just a pretty thing to look at. Why do you only want to look at it for a month?
Exactly. You put so much work into it.
You put so much work into it. Enjoy it. My Christmas tree at my mom's house in Minnesota was up until March last year.
No, honestly.
It was up so long.
I think that lights should stay on, like Christmas lights outside, as long as it's cold.
Let's go.
And as long as it stays dark early.
Because daylight savings is a bitch.
Because I'm like, it gets dark earlier so that Christmas lights can be on longer.
There we go.
So why would we take it off just because
And
Christmas is over?
Hanukkah lights, us Jews can have some fun too. Put your little dreidel blow up thing outside. Let's go.
True.
Kwanzaa. I'm sure everyone's got the lights.
I'm talking about lights in general. And I also
put the lights up. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, put your fucking lights up. And this is only point 1. She's not even done.
Okay.
We got 6 points.
Oh no.
2. I want to get a tree of our own and be able to enjoy the awe and wonder of the event with my son for the first time. 3. I can't get the Christmas tree that I would like before Thanksgiving, so I can preempt the situation. 4. Christmas is full of mixed emotions for me. It's also my birthday, so I've always had to manage some feelings of neglect and lack of control. 5. My parents passed right before and right after Christmas. I would have hoped to get through Thanksgiving without being bombarded with all these feelings. I don't know if my brother will have a similar emotional response. 6. Putting up a Christmas tree 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is not a long-standing family tradition in my mother-in-law's household. I told my husband that I didn't really want to go to mother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving if there was going to be a Christmas tree up. And instead of putting the time into listening to me and at least trying to understand why, he proceeded to immediately phone her and tell her I refused to come to her house if there was a Christmas tree up. And she said, "That's weird." And he said it was because I wanted to do it first. She's now not going to put up a Christmas tree. I'm not happy. I'm so confused. You just got what you wanted, but okay. So she's now not going to put up a Christmas tree. I'm not happy. He didn't take the time to even attempt to understand my feelings or explain my side of things to her. I don't usually dictate what others do in their homes, but I believe I should be able to have some minor input into the experiences this year at mother-in-law's, especially where my son is involved. My husband thinks I'm selfish for wanting to have the experience of putting up a tree and seeing my son's reaction first. He thinks that I just want to be in conflict with his mother, and I should have just let it go. While I feel he ruined the holiday season for me before it's even begun, he believes that if anyone ruined the holidays, it's me. Now, I don't want to go to her house for Thanksgiving or Christmas or ever.
Oh my
I
God.
will because I understood, probably more than most, the value of family, but I'm feeling misunderstood and ganged up on. Am I the asshole?
So I actually do think that her points there, I understood some of her points. Like she's
Yeah.
saying that it's a very triggering time for her for all these different reasons. Um, I I also think that it is a bummer that her husband didn't, maybe if when she presented it, that he didn't just like fully get in the conversation before just immediately being like, I'm calling my mom and telling her like basically that you're a bitch.
Yeah, he really threw her under the
He
bus.
really did.
That's what
So
I was going to say too. He kind of threw her under the bus there.
yeah. Um, however, you know, it is, it's not, I mean, it's not her house. It's just not her house. And like this, she wants to have a Christmas tree up. I don't know. I think that it's weird for her to refuse. I don't know.
Or dictate.
Dictate. Yeah, exactly. I think it's weird for her to dictate that situation and say that I don't want a Christmas tree to be up. It would make sense to me if she was like, honestly, it's kind of triggering for me. It's kind of hard on me. Like, this is just how I feel. But for her to be like, so she better not have that Christmas tree up. It's just kind of,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
it is a lot. And I don't know how far apart they live from each other, but I have, there's just this story is a lot to unpack. After point one, I was like, fuck this lady. And then we get to point number 6, and I'm like, okay, I have a little more empathy. Like,
Yeah.
I do see where she's coming from. Like, it's hard though, because like loss is loss. You never truly get over loss. You just kind of learn how to grow with it.
Mhm.
And so even though she lost her mom 20 years ago, if she lost her mom right before Christmas, like every time Christmas rolls around, that's going to be a reminder of her losing her mom.
Yeah.
So I get it. It is very triggering. So
Mhm.
her saying she wants to separate the two holidays, it's like, please just let me have this one holiday that
Yeah.
I remedy with happiness.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. It's this one holiday I had with my mom, and then I lost my mom, the next month. So I get it. I think I have a problem with, I guess, her husband not really understanding her, but I also think like this can't be a one off. You married this man. There has to have been more situations where this man has shown you he doesn't understand you and your experiences. Because if you've been married now for however long and you have a 1.5-year-old with this man,
Yeah.
like he should understand your past. He should understand your trauma and
Right.
be able to empathize with that.
Mhm.
So for him to just be like, she's not coming if you put up a fucking tree
Yeah.
and then like throw her under the bus that way. So I'm like, you married this man
Yeah.
who doesn't like respect you. And I don't want to like, I don't even know if you would consider this like blaming her or like whatever, but it just seems like there is so much disconnect between every single person in this story. Every single person.
Mhm.
Like the husband is wrong for going to his mom and throwing his wife under the bus, who should be his partner. He's wrong for not trying to understand his wife. The wife is wrong for trying to gatekeep a fucking Christmas tree and dictate what other people do in their house. But also, they're both wrong for not understanding her trauma and her experience. So it's like the overall vote on this one was asshole, which is what I was like trying to like, I
Mhm.
was just like, oh, I was just like twiddling my thumbs, like so excited. But now that I'm in it, I feel like it's not asshole. I feel like it's almost more of like an everyone sucks here.
Yeah.
Like there's no winners, there's no losers, because as long as there's this disconnect, you're all losing. No one's gonna be happy.
I think that I think it's a little bit her reasoning with the triggering of the holiday and just wanting to keep it separate and just having Thanksgiving be Thanksgiving. Um, that's fair for her to want that, but also like it's also something where she needs to realize that other people are involved and it can't just like revolve
Yeah.
around her. I think it's a little bit selfish that she is so worried about being the first one to show her son like this exact experience that she's trying to tell someone else in a different household not to have a tree. You know what I mean? Like,
That's so true because even if she wants, which she did put in her points, I can't get a tree that I would like before Thanksgiving so I can preempt the situation.
mhm.
And in point number 2, she goes, I want to get a tree of our own to be able to enjoy the awe and wonder of the event with my son for the first time. So you almost wonder if it is more about that experience with her baby and the
Mhm.
tree versus being more about the family. That is interesting because then it's like, I guess you could make a point where it's like, it doesn't matter whose house it is. You're still going to be witnessing your son have that
Right.
experience for the first time.
Right. It's interesting. Well, I know I met this young mother once who said that she was not going to tell her kids that Santa Claus existed ever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because she wanted to be the one to give the presents to her children and have them be grateful to her and not to a magical
Fairy.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also heard, like, to that point exactly, um, it's very, very discouraging if you are a person of wealth to tell your kids, like, oh, hey, Santa brought you the dirt bike. Hey, Santa brought you the most expensive gift. While it might be
Mm,
more exciting for your kids, they're like, oh my God, Santa brought me this big present. If your kids go back and tell kids that
in
don't
school.
have
I
as
never thought
much,
about that.
yeah, so it was this thing
Wow.
where it was like, if you want to, have Santa be this person in your kid's life and have this experience for your kids, let Santa give your kids gifts, but let Santa give your kids gifts that everyone could afford.
Mm-hmm.
Because going back to school and having,
Makes so much
hey,
sense.
Santa brought me a fucking pony. And it's like, these
Damn,
kids,
Santa doesn't like me. I was so good all year. What the fuck?
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And so it makes these other kids that like don't have as much, or, these families that aren't as privileged, it just makes everyone feel
Makes a
bad. So
lot of
it's like,
sense.
own up. Like, if you're getting your kids fucking bougie gifts and that's something you want to do, do it. But like, say you got the gifts. Like, say you got the gifts because it's just,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Never
It
thought
was,
about that.
I know, it was really interesting. I just read it recently. It was like, holidays are coming up. Like, let's be better
Mhm.
this year. Like, and it's to each their own. Like, obviously, if you want to tell your kids Santa brought them a fucking pony, you can do that. But I think it just like, it levels the playing field. And like, there's so much disadvantage and lack of privilege and whatever. So make everyone feel good. But this lady, I'm perplexed. The kid experiencing Christmas with the grandma for the first time, the tree. I love trees. Like, I celebrate Hanukkah. I celebrate Christmas. Kind of do it all. My mom, when we went back to Minnesota for Halloween this year, we she was like, "Do you want to put up our tree?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Let's get it up." So we were gonna put up our tree for Halloween. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have a hard time like kind of rationalizing like it's never too early for the tree.
Mhm.
Any last thoughts on this one?
No, just that her husband needs to chill out before calling. Because what she said is that he called his mother immediately,
Yeah.
and I think he needs to chill out a little bit too. Even if he thinks she's being irrational, I think that wasn't very nice that he didn't let her explain her triggers, even if he still thought that it was unfair, because it is, in my opinion, also unfair. So I like your agreement with everyone sucks.
I really think you're right on with that. I think he didn't give her a chance to like really talk at all. He immediately was like, "I hear no. Let me call my mom."
Mm-hmm.
And I was
And it
like,
was clearly bitter.
"Yeah,
Sorry, mom. My wife's a bitch.
that's
Like
that's
that's literally what he did.
yeah."
That's what he said.
And the thing is, like, when you I've said this a time and time again because they come up with like these stories so much, but it's like when you marry someone, that's your person, that's your ally, that's your where you should be aligned.
Yeah.
And so for him to like just call his mom, like, Mom, Mom, she doesn't want the tree. Like, buddy, talk to your fucking wife.
I feel like I've done that before, Like I can't think of a specific situation. Not like with like the person I'm with and
Yeah.
my, mom or dad. But I feel like I've done that before where it's just a very angry, like, well, actually, no, it's not gonna work because so and so doesn't want this. Like
It's a passive
a
aggressive like
very passive, and
response
I can't
to
like think
try
of
to get the way that you want. I've been there.
or just
We've
like
all been there.
yeah, I can't think of like like a situation, but like you telling me the story, I'm like I feel like I've done that before, like once before.
I'm sure we all have. I don't even want to read the comments on this one because I think a lot of people, it's hard because loss is loss and we all deal with losses and we all have our unique losses. But like being an orphan, like this girl lost her dad the last holiday season, 2020. So it's like being parentless on the holidays is very, very tough. Like my dad has told me it's like one of the hardest things he's dealt with. And I think a lot of the comments kind of miss that and don't really have a lot of empathy for her.
Yeah.
But top comment, you're the asshole for gatekeeping Christmas. Go to any department store right now and you will see trees. Are you not going to take your kid to the store? Make your tree special for him in your own way, but don't kill everyone else's spirit. Which I see their point. But also, like, what happens in department stores is not what happens
It's a little
in
different.
people's lives. So just kind of like everyone needs to have better communication and like a little bit of empathy in this
Well, you know what's
situation.
interesting too that we did not touch on is that she mentioned that her birthday is it actually on Christmas or is it just around Christmas?
She said Christmas. She doesn't specify when. Let me read it again just to make sure.
Well, regardless, the reason why I think that's interesting is because I used to not
Christmas is full of mixed emotions for me. It's also my birthday.
right.
Yeah.
So, I used to not think much about zodiacs at all, honestly, and birthdays and that having like a part in a person and their personality. I just used to plug my ears when my friends would talk about it. And then somebody was telling me about the book The Outliers and how all these different things with people and their
birth month
birthdays.
affects everything. Even if you don't believe in zodiacs,
Exactly.
like he talks about how birth month
And yeah,
affects
and
everything.
because like especially, I mean, depending on where you're from, but I know at least where we're from, people put a lot of focus on what day you're born. It's a constant reminder. Anything you're filling out, wherever you go somewhere, it's your birthday. Like you go to the airport, your birthday. Your everything is
Birthdays
like
define us.
yeah, like every single year, what are you doing for your birthday? Like that's like who you are. That's like what makes you special. That's your one holiday is your birthday. And so there's so much focus as a society around that we identify with that so much. And so, for example, growing up year after year, I never thought anything about the fact that not that I had a summer birthday. So nobody decorated my locker growing up. I never brought cupcakes to school. I never got celebrated from my entire class.
Yeah, you had a summer birthday.
My summer birthday, and I didn't think that that would impact me. But the thing is that all these type of things impact us as we're growing up year after year, and they impact us in who we are today. Like that's why as a society, I think a lot of us have realized our childhood traumas, and using trauma is not just like traumatic, but like trauma means just basically experiences that have impacted you when you were young to the point that you are today. Yeah, and it's so that's why it's interesting because I do think that birthdays really do play a part on our personalities. So hearing this story, and that was one of her points, is that like her birthday is on Christmas, and that
Yeah.
I don't know, it's all just so interesting to me. But
No, and I do see where you're going with that because it's like that's her birthday. And it's also the time of year her parents are now both gone. So it's like, it's this
there's
like,
a lot of triggers.
it's a lot of triggers. And like, I have a friend, like one of my best guy friends, his birthday is the 26th. Tanner is 26. And it's like, Tanner really never really had a birthday because it's like Christmas is 25th. His birthday is the 26th. It's like, it just like, it's all smooshed together.
Yeah.
So it definitely would shape you even growing up because it's like, it's not, you can't really separate it. Like that's your birthday. And so if her birthday's on actual Christmas, it's like that's just a whole shit clusterfuck of feelings. Like there's no good way to get around
Did
that.
she just become not an asshole?
I think I think Reddit might have given her a bad vote in my book. I know people might come for me for that one, but I have a lot of empathy. I know loss is really tough to deal with. I just think it's not necessarily, yeah, okay, maybe she's gatekeeping the tree, whatever, but like she should have been the one. Overall, my opinion, everyone sucks. She should have been the one to text her mother in law. Like, you've been married now, you have a 1.5 year old. Text your mother in law and say, hey, I get you want to put up the tree. However, this is like a very triggering time of the year for me based on losing both of my parents. Would you hold off on the tree? Like, can we just have Thanksgiving? Like, she's an adult. Text your mother in law. Reach out. Because if you can't do that, like, how old is she? Did she say how old she is? She did, right? She's 34. Text your mother in law. Your husband doesn't have to be the middleman. He tried to be. He clearly fucking sucks at it and threw you under the bus. So I vote everyone sucks here, but like,
God,
I'm sure the mother in law would have empathized with her.
you know what I'm just realizing too? You know, I said I was like, I feel like I've done something like this before too.
Yeah.
I actually just, I think what I'm thinking of is that I had an ex do that to me where I explained that I
Oh, damn.
didn't know if I wanted to do XYZ with his friends because of XYZ. And I was just kind of like, I don't really know how I feel about this. And anyway, like they called him and he picked up the phone. He was like,
Lauren doesn't want to go.
Lo doesn't want to go. And I was like, don't do that. I was like, I was talking it through with you. Like, God damn it.
Well, and that's the thing.
Now they're just going to think I'm a fucking bitch.
And that's the
They're gonna
thing.
think I'm a rude bitch.
No, you're rude, bitch.
Rude bitch.
And that's the thing. If you want these people to be in your lives, and like clearly they're married, they're gonna be in each other's lives, you don't talk shit about them. You don't throw them under the bus. Yeah, okay, you could vent. Venting is healthy and normal.
Agreed.
This was so preemptive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know what she's feeling.
Yeah, like she could have gotten all of her feelings out and he could have been like, thank you for explaining that. I do think that, you know, the tree is still very special to my mother and I don't want to hold her back from that, but I also want to be supportive of you and like and find another way to support you while still not like affecting like my mother's plan.
That's exactly how it should have been.
And she could have been like, "Oh my God, you're the best husband ever. I'm obsessed with you. Let's have sex."
That's how it could have been.
Could have been like that, guys.
Buddy, you missed out on a good Thanksgiving blowjob.
I'm bored of this one. Let's go to the next one.
Next.